Let's talk about society and politics. Presented by Smith Co.
Hello and welcome back to Let's Talk about Society and Politics. Today we're going to be talking about identity in the global age. So identity in the global age has changed. Well, obviously in the modern age it's changed from what it was beforehand. Globalization has affected things, and there are multiple things such as monocultures and multiculturalism, culture diversity, identity, Western culture, non-Western culture, popular culture, dominant culture, subculture, mass culture, segregation, sectarian, cultural integration, cultural diffusion, cultural conference, culture divergence, cultural hybridization, cultural appropriation, cultural integration policy, cultural assimilation, sovereignty, political globalization, and supranational organizations. One of the key features in the modern society is our interconnectedness. Globalization has resulted in closer connections and links between societies and populations all around the world. With the mass movement of people and goods and services and information, our areas we can go, real and virtual, are constantly crossing. But what impact does globalization have on our society? Cultural identity is one area that has changed significantly in our interconnected world. Monoculturalism has given way to multiculturalism. Our societies have apparently become more culturally diverse than ever before. We can sample cuisine from any part of the world in our local restaurants, and hear a distinct range of languages being spoken on the streets of our cities. We can interact with people from all the different corners of the globe. And of course, they bring with them a unique culture and rituals. Now, over the next few videos, we will examine the identity and culture across the world. We'll look at partners of all different diversity and engage in all sorts of things in relation to where identity comes from, how it is maintained and adapted. We will explore both sides of the identity paradox. For example, on one hand, globalization is said to have threatened the survival of local and traditional culture, which is, somewhat, questionable. At the same time, we've also witnessed the rise in identity politics as cultures revitalize and reassert themselves in the face of perceived threats to their existence, which in some cases, those do not exist. I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying they do. I'm not saying they do or don't. I'm just saying sometimes they don't. So, identity and culture. Identity is how individuals or a group define themselves or are defined by others. Identity is a label we give to ourselves or are given by others. And when this is a label we give to other individuals groups, this label can involve many strands, such as language, ethnicity, gender, nationality, religion, class, and lifestyle. Now, we will look at some of the categories that in respect to political representation, oftentimes you have this problem. There are a lot of times when you look at, and you can see that there are, different groups that have been stereotyped, and that of course is very, very wrong. Also doesn't make much sense. Some stereotypes are just like, why? And of course, you can see how, each person really does have, multiple identities. One element can be stronger than the other, depending on circumstance. For example, someone can be from a certain country, but be from a different religion than most people from the country. They can be whatever religion they like, and they can be whatever gender. And obviously, their identity can be completely different depending on their personal opinion. Because if you want to identify as a particular area of your identity, then that is what you are identifying. However, of course, your identities will come out at different times And, some people would like to identify as different when they're identifying as different things, that they are part of their identity at different areas and different times. Identity can be very important because it affects how we view ourselves and others. It can shape how we perceive and interact with others in society. We can view ourselves and others and others in certain ways, depending on the labels we assign. Sometimes these labels are very, very problematic. Sometimes people think of age. They think of young people and the elderly in very different ways. And the meaning we assign to certain groups can differ across cultures. The elderly in many cultures across the world have given very high status as sources of wisdom and authority. Whether this is correct or not, well, that's up to you. Well, actually, it's more of a fact, so I guess it's not, but sorry. In many Western cultures, youth is associated with a thing of beauty and power, which is, not true. When we give identity a label to an individual or group, we show that we really, we hold certain expectations or assumptions about their character. And that can cause problems. Next, we move on to culture. Culture refers to a shared way of life of a society or group. Culture consists of many different elements such as language, values and norms, belief, customs, traditions, dress, cuisine, arts, literature and sports. Culture can be based on language, ethnicity, nationality, religion or other such factors. Culture can be visible or invisible. In society we normally have a dominant culture, which is the main way of life accepted by the majority. We also have subcultures. There are many smaller cultures or groups in society that differ from the main dominant culture. For example, there is a variety of subcultures in many countries. There are many cultures that will be within a culture, but of course, that is the problem with profiling people, because at the end of the day, people are complex, and putting them into one group is, a problem. Culture can be passed from one generation to the next through institutions such as family, education, and the media. However, culture is not biologically programmed. Culture is not permanent or static. It can be changed or created. Culture is always changing, And of course, in the next video we'll be talking about the markers of culture. Apologies for the shortness of this video. I think it's video 6. So yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, and
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk About Society and Politics. If you'd like to subscribe to the YouTube channel, that would be good. Subscriptions apparently are a good thing to have. So thank you if you did that, and thank you in advance if you're going to do that. If you want to view other videos, personally I think that's better. But I think in the growth sense, apparently subscribers are better. But I think viewing other videos is good. I think it's good. And thank you if you have viewed other videos. That's good. And if you're going to view other videos, once again, thanks.